Hey guys, how's it going? So about a year and a half ago, March of 2019, I did a video about federal judge Amy Coney Barrett. And in just a few minutes here, President Trump is going to announce her as the next nominee for the Supreme Court of the United States. And there's a lot that goes into being a Supreme Court justice and a judge. And I have not had time to look into everything on Amy Barrett. However, I just wanted to talk briefly about her past views and her dissent in an important Second Amendment case. So I'm basically going to reference an article from March 18th of 2019 because that was around the time of this case. And it concerns a nonviolent felon. So a guy by the name of Ricky Cantor pled guilty to one count of federal mail fraud when he falsely represented that his company's shoe therapeutic inserts were Medicare approved for billing, but they actually weren't. So this violated both federal law and Wisconsin law. Well, by him becoming a felon, federal and Wisconsin law said convicted felons can't possess a firearm, right? So the article here is saying on Friday, 7th Circuit panel ruled in Cantor v. Barr that the application of these federal and Wisconsin bars to Cantor did not violate his Second Amendment rights. But in an impressive dissent, Judge Amy Coney Barrett explained why she disagreed from her opening paragraphs. And this is just the opening of her long dissenting opinion, saying she did not agree that by him being a nonviolent felon, that state or federal law could remove his Second Amendment rights to keep and bear arms. And she says, history is consistent with common sense. It demonstrates that legislatures have the power to prohibit dangerous people from possessing guns. But that power extends only to people who are dangerous. Founding era legislatures did not strip felons of their right to bear arms simply because of their status as felons, nor have the parties introduced any evidence that founding era legislatures imposed virtue-based restrictions on the right. Such restrictions apply to civic rights like voting and jury service, but not to individual rights like the right to possess a gun. In 1791, and for well more than a century afterward, the legislatures disqualified categories of people from the right to bear arms only when they judged that doing so was necessary to protect the public's safety. The federal and Wisconsin laws would stand on solid footing if their categorical bans were tailored to serve the government's undeniably compelling interest to protecting the public from gun violence. But their dispossession of all felons, both violent and nonviolent, is unconstitutional as applied to Cantor. Neither Wisconsin nor the United States has introduced data sufficient to show that disarming all nonviolent felons substantially advances its interests in keeping the public safe. Nor have they otherwise demonstrated that Cantor himself shows a proclivity for violence. Absent evidence that he either belongs to a dangerous category or bears individual markers of risk, permanently disqualifying Cantor from possessing a gun violates the Second Amendment. Now, I know what a lot of you guys are going to say. Well, hold on. All people should have that right, whether they're violent, non-violent. Look, here's my opinion on that. If somebody's so dangerous that they can't be let on the street, or it's almost guaranteed, or the threat's imminent that they're going to kill anybody if they're let free, then why are they let free? Because we hear things they want assault rifles banned. That's not my words, that's theirs. Well, more people are killed with hands and feet each year in the United States than they are with quote-unquote assault rifles or any type of rifle as far as that goes. So, that's a whole nother topic for another day, but let's look at what we have here. We have a potential third justice that could be put on the bench by Donald Trump, President Trump. And I'm just focusing on the Second Amendment, guys, because I want this video to be short. But if she is indeed nominated, which I think she will be very soon, we can talk about other stuff later, because there are other things that matter. But again, back to the Second Amendment. She's taking an originalist approach. Right here in her intro here of her opinion, she's mentioning 1791. So she's going right back, because 1776, American Revolution. 1791 is when the Bill of Rights was written. So she's going right back to the first day it was written, and she's looking at this from an originalist standpoint. She's looking at how laws were created from 1791 to about a century afterwards. And she's noting that no, nonviolent felons didn't lose their gun rights back then. Obviously, legislatures and courts since then have chipped away to even put people in nonviolent categories on the prohibited persons list. So look at what our alternatives here are. Trump could win the presidency. Maybe somebody better will come up. Or Biden could win, and no doubt somebody much worse. Some people say if Trump makes this appointment, it's going to cost him the election. I don't see any proof of that. But look back in 2016. One of the most important reasons everyone said that we needed to elect Trump was to get as many Supreme Court justices on the bench as possible. So I'm not going to concede that he's going to lose the election by nominating her. But hypothetically, even if he did, is it still worth it? I would argue maybe, and you guys can discuss that down in the comments. Because remember, the economy, the wall, there were many things, but the Supreme Court was up at the top, if not near the top, because Justice Antonin Scalia had just passed away during the heat of the last presidential race in 2016. Speaking of Scalia, Amy Coney Barrett, she worked under him. So she's well rooted and working for one of the most notable conservative Supreme Court justices. She's 48 years old, which would make her the youngest person on the bench, so she could serve for many, many years to come. As far as I can tell, she's an originalist. She believes the Constitution and the Bill of Rights mean exactly what they were written back almost 250 years ago. So I think she's good on the Second Amendment, guys. Could we always get a little better? Yeah. If I was a justice, if you guys just want my opinion, if anything even came in front of me, I would say, why are we even here? Because anything, even 1 millimeter, is an infringement, and the Second Amendment says, shall not be infringed. I don't know. I don't know if we're going to, certainly I'm not going to be on the Supreme Court. I don't know if any of you guys that are as absolutist as me are going to be either, but she's about the most absolute. The fact that she's even saying that nonviolent felons should retain their God-given rights is much more than any of these. Even Scalia himself, which was considered to be, ooh, the wind's blowing out here, guys, sorry, which was considered to be awesome on the Second Amendment, right? Even he established the common use in Heller. Heller was awesome, but there was that negative in there where he said, if a firearm's in common use. Although she clerked under Scalia, I've never heard Amy Coney Barrett and her arguments here saying anything about common use. She's looking at the original intent of the Bill of Rights and how laws were decided and legislated from 1791 till around the late 1800s, which in my opinion, from what I've seen, makes her the most pure and probably the best on the Second Amendment that I've seen nominated or on the court in a long time. Could she turn on us? Yeah, of course she could. Hindsight's going to be 20/20. So if I'm going to look at her just on the narrow basis of the Second Amendment, which is mainly what this channel's about, I think she's awesome. There may be other things about her that makes her where she wouldn't be a good justice, but as far as the Second Amendment goes, the fact that she's going as far as to say at least the non-violent felons still retain the right that were given to them by God and supposed to be protected by the government makes her a lot more pro-gun than anyone else I've seen. So you guys can decide. I know some of you guys are going to say she's not good enough, but here's the deal. I'm not nominated. You're not nominated. This is what we've got, and it could be a heck of a lot worse, but actually I don't think she's bad at all in the Second Amendment considering. So I'm actually kind of excited from a gun rights standpoint. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. All right, thanks for watching, and have a good one.